So it's just me tonight, you know, recording after midnight when the trade winds blow through the window of my little studio space, talking pullets to whoever's still awake. Kyle and Drew are song, we're taking time away, and I'm here sorting through what I wanted to say about the books I bought, the panels that I love, the way Tuesday feels when new releases come. These are my filler episodes, just Jason and the microphone, talking about the things we read alone. Indies versus capes, the great unknown. Our filler episodes, until the guys come back home. Until then, you've got me in the slow island time, the comic book undertow. Someone asked me in the comments yesterday, do independent books hit different in a way? And I've been thinking about the answer all week long. Like maybe there's no right side, we just been here all along. The big two got their universes, sure that's fine, but small press books, they get inside your mind. Different anxieties, the same suburban dread, where the tights and flights of kitchen tables spread. These are my filler episodes, just Jason and a microphone, talking about the things we read alone. Indies versus capes, the great unknown. My filler episodes, until the guys come back home. But till then, you've got me in the slow island time, the comic book undertow. Look, I know you're waiting for the regular show. Kyle's analysis, Drew jokes, the way it used to go. I'll be back soon, I promise. This is just a pause, me ramble about panels and narrative flows. Maybe you don't mind this temporary sound of someone who just loves this, talking you back down. These are my filler episodes, just Jason and the microphone, talking about the things we read alone. Indies versus capes, the great unknown. My filler episodes, you made them feel like home. Thanks for staying with me through the slow island time, the comic book undertow. So that's it for tonight, my halo for your time. Next week I'll be back here, same place, same rhyme. Until Kyle and Drew return and claim the throne, sign off with a lower, you were never alone.
Aloha, it's Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to another edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. Now, we are on the road to 1,000. Kyle and Drew are walking around the globe looking for some awesome comics that they're going to talk about when they come back on the air. Now, for now, I'm your backup quarterback. I'm your relief pitcher after 16 innings. So I'm going to say, let's get the show on the road. But before we start that, I just, want to say a couple things. I just want to apologize. I am sorry I messed up on a couple things during the episode 995. Now, this was during the cover price, when I was going over the cover price, was going over some of the books, the informations. And I kept saying one of the acronyms they had was FMV. I thought that was fine mint, but I got this corrected. I looked it up, and basically just meant fair market value. So I am sorry about that. And then there's another mistake I made when I was reading the information and so forth. I just said flops, and I just kind of read it like it was like floppy issues, floppy magazines. I did, and when I was reading it, I just realized it was like, oh shoot, this isn't making sense. And then I realized they were referring to a comic book creator. So again, I'm sorry for those mess ups. You know, um, just thank you for bearing with me on that last episode. So I'm going to say, please bear with me on this episode. I know I'm going to make mistakes all along the way, but you know what? Let's just move on. So in today's episode, I'm going to go over the following. Again, I'm going to go over some of the top um, cover price comics, the dollar bin finds that I picked up this week, what comic books I picked up this week, digital movie purposes, and some comics that are coming out next week on November 5th, 2025. Now, for so this week cover price for the week of um, October 27th, 2025. Now, the number one top pick is Venom 250. It is the Nick Bradshaw Muppet variant. Now, it's a homage cover to the classic Secret Wars #8, but with Ralph the dog in the Venom suit. Now, this is I got this information, part of the information from Attraction Magazine, because the reason is when I looked at the cover, I was going, "Oh, that's Fozzie Bear." I was like, "No, that's not Fozzie Bear. Who's that character? I know that Muppet. That Muppet looks familiar." So, I did some research, and it's Ralph the dog. So now this is what they wrote. This book marks a potential big moment in the Venom mythos. It is the return of No and the first appearance of Hela as the Queen in Black. The story just kicked off earlier this month, so who knows where it will go. That's not the reason this book is trending, though. That trend is due to a symbiotic Muppet taking over the cover in a homage to Secret Wars #8. In celebration of the 70th anniversary, Muppets have been 70th anniversary. Now, Muppets have been taking over Marvel Comics. Now, this isn't a racial cover either. It it is an open order cover that probably didn't get a lot of initial orders. Now the Muppets are receiving their due diligence with a Broadway and Disney Plus show on the horizon. Now, we tracked 23 copies sold at a 7-day growth trend of 356%. Wow, that's high. With a high sale of $50 and a raw near mint copy and a current raw near mint fair market value of $31. Okay, so the next book on their list is it's um so the next book, actually, I'm going to jump to their number 6 pick. It's Hello Halloween. Now, this is by comic book creator Flops, as I just talked about. Now, this is a Boom Direct Reserve Glow in the Dark Virgin Limited 300. I'm describing the cover. The cover is a sexy looking nurse with a hacksaw over a Frankenstein like body with a skull and a jar of formaldehyde. Now, this nurse looks very sexy, but also very wicked indeed. Now, now this is what they said. Now, if you are into a new and trending artist, Flops is the one to keep your eye on. Their retro style artwork has caught the eyes of collectors lately. A few Flops covers have made it to the top 10, but this book really heated up. It not only is a stellar artwork, but it is also a glow in the dark virgin cover that is extremely limited. Just in time for the spooky season, this book is a perfect Halloween cover to collect. We tracked 10 copies sold at a 7-day growth trending of 100% with a high sale of $95 for a raw near mint copy and a current raw near mint fair market value of $80. Now, the next one on the list, it's a number 7. It's number 7. I'm picking number 7. Spider-Man and Wolverine #6. Raglan's Muppet variant cover. This cover has a Swedish. Now, this one is the cover has the. It's the Swedish chef is doing the homage of the classic Wolverine #1 miniseries that came out in 1982. Now, the Muppets make their mark with a hilarious homage cover to Wolverine #1. The Swedish chef taunts at his opponents with 3 deadly wooden spoons ready for combat. Only Wolverine and the Swedish chef could look so daunting. Of course, when Swedish Chef starts talking, then I don't know. But the popularity of these Muppet covers comes on the cusp of a recent Broadway debut. For the first time ever, the Muppets will debut on Broadway next week. So we're looking in the first week of November 2025. This is also in addition to the announcement that the Muppets will have a new show on Disney Plus. Now, starring the very popular Sabrina Carpenter. At first when Sabrina Carpenter came on the scene, I didn't know any of her songs, but now since listening to the radio, I love, and of course the only song that they really play mostly is her Espresso song, and I love that song. It's great. Sorry, I'm going to go back to reading the information. This show is a one-off event that could potentially be a backdoor pilot to a regular series. Now, these 70th anniversary covers are a hot commodity as the Muppets jump back into the spotlight. We track 18 copies sold at a 7-day growth trending at 53% with a high sale of $54 for a CGC 9.8 copy and a current raw near mint fair market value of $17. Excuse me one moment, I'm just going to take a sip. Now I'm also going to be looking at their at the bottom of their list, their number 20 um, uh, trending on cover price. Now it's West Coast Avengers number 5. Now, you know, I I was looking on the website and everything, and what it is basically is it's a Doctor Doom cover, and it's drawn by I'm hoping I'm pronouncing these names correctly, Al um, Milgrom and Mike um, Latchin. Now, if you recall, this book saw a ton of heat when it was first announced that RDJ would be playing Doctor Doom in an upcoming Avengers film or films. It hasn't done a ton since then, but collectors haven't forgotten. With One World Under Doom nearing completion and Marvel laying the groundwork for the next run in Dungeons of Doom, collectors have their work cut out for them, mostly because no one exactly knows how RDJ as Doom will play out and what connotation that holds for the future. Still, this is a Doom centric cover key that has collectors interested, and they're picking up this issue and resetting the ground floor at a steady clip. We tracked 7 copies sold at a 7-day growth trending of 24% with a high sale of $30 for a raw near mint. Now, also, and this is me. So I'm hoping I was reading the charts and I'm hoping I read this chart correctly. So I saw that I guess a CGC 9.8 is going for $499. Like, wow. Um, and also in the current raw near mint fair market value is $16. But I was kind of going, wow, CGC for it's literally $499. I was looking at the cover, and it just basically was a shot of Doctor Doom's head. That's all it is. Now I have Marvel Unlimited. I basically just skimmed through what this issue is about. All I'm going to leave you with this is in the opening page, Mockingbird and Hawkeye are like prisoners in one of Doctor Doom's chambers, in a huge bed, one of those lavish chambers with a huge bed in Doom's castle. And like I said, that's the opening scene. I didn't read the issue or anything, but I don't know. Yeah, who knows? All right. So I'm going to start moving on, and I'm going to talk about dollar bin, the hidden treasures of dollar bins that I found while diving into the bins at Other Realms. Now, this is another comic shop in Honolulu. Now, Other Realms has been around for almost 40 years. It's the oldest comic book in the state. They carry basically of course, comics, tabletop games, action figures, you name it. So so excuse me, you're gonna hear a bunch of noise. So this is the stack. So basically, the dollar. I picked up like $20 worth of dollar comics. Um, and I also picked up a couple of the like the Marvel free previews number 48 and 49. Um I guess I oh yes, IDW monthly catalog, and also of course the DC Connect for December 2025. Now the dollar now they still had these, and they haven't they've had these on the shelves, and this is pretty cool. The True Believers, the ones that they were selling, I think, was it a few years ago for $1? Like, the reprints, of course, I think now this was during, I think, when Captain Marvel, the first Captain Marvel movie came out, is they reprinted, let's see, the Avengers. Oh man, I can't, I wish they had left I really wish they had left the issue number on top. But it's the Avengers, part of the John Byrne run. Like I want to say this is probably I'm gonna guess issue 182. I know I'm gonna be off on this. It's the one with when they fight Absorbing Man, John Byrne. That was when John Byrne was on the Avengers back at that time. That was great. Also too, you know, The Astonishing Ant-Man by John Byrne. I believe this is like part of the Marvel premiere, when Scott Lang appeared as Ant-Man, you know, written by David Michelini, John Berman, and Bob Layton, the artist. Um, let's see, The Incredible Hulk were, you know, yeah, The Incredible Hulk is by Peter David and Gary Frank. Um, Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They don't have the original issue numbers on these, so I can't tell you what they are. Uh, Also, too, now I know this one, Avengers Forever. This is the 12-part incredible miniseries by Kurt Busiek, and I want to say, yep, Carlos Pacheco. So yeah, and then of course you have a classic one. I guess when Ant-Man and the Wasp movie was coming out, basically it was the introduction of Giant Man. And it's called A Giant Man and the Wasp. And the title reads On the Trail of the Amazing Spider-Man. So yeah, so that this was for $1. I picked that up. Yeah, I decided why not give it a shot. And then again, like I always say too, is that after I read these, I'm gonna give this away to my friend's son, who's into comics right now. So also too, like I said, I've dug into their dollar bins, and I picked up. Um, I'm going to go over some of the other ish things that I bought. Was Bronze Age Boogie Nights from Ahoy Comics. I know Stuart Moore had written this mini series. Um, X-Men, um, issue number 30. This is the one where it's Scott and Jean. They finally get married. You know, so that one, and then I picked up also too, um Our Man number 2, um written by Tom Peyer and Rags Morales. And then also this is pretty funny. So they were selling this in the dollar bins. The Making of Our Man. Now, this is Wizards free special edition, and I didn't realize it, but they're charging $1. I'm going to open this up right now. I'm just going to, I just wanted to go through this to see what this is about. I mean, it's going to be obvious, but, of course, the designs of Our Man, you know, the final, it's just basically artwork and some text and so forth. So, pick that up. But it's just, I just wanted to see. Actually, I also wanted to see if they were going to interview Tom Peyer when he was doing his run on Our Man. Excuse me for a moment. And then also, I saw some very good Marvel fanfare. Marvel fanfare number 47. I picked this up because there was the Hulk and Spider-Man on the cover, and I want to say it looks like Michael Godin's art. And let me just double check. I want to see it is. Excuse me. Bill Mantlo, co-plot script, and also Michael Golden on art. Yep. And then this is a cool find. The final issue of Marvel Fanfare number 60. Now this is by, let me try to, I know the inker on this. Oh, here it is. Dennis Cowan penciling, writing and inking by Walter Simonson. I thought this was pretty cool. Also, I picked up The Avengers now. This is the 2.1, and I wonder if this is during the time when Marvel was doing their point ones and point twos. And this is written by Mark Waid and art by Barry Kitson. And this is supposed to be, Barry Kitson's art. He was trying to make it where, basically this is when it was only Captain America, Hawkeye, Quicksilver, and the Scarlet Witch, you know, after all the powerhouses of the Avengers had left the Avengers, and it was just, basically Cap you know, and the rest of them, and they go against the Stranger in this one. Let's see. I also picked up some very old issues of Starman, um, written by Roger Stern, Tom Lyle. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so I picked up issues 9 and 10 because it's guest starring Batman and introducing Blockbuster. I picked up Sensational Wonder Woman number 3. And of course, in these dollar bins, you find a lot of Valiant comics, a lot of 1990s Image comics. So I picked up Solar Man of the Atom number 19. Let's see. I also picked up an Ablaze comic, Traveling to Mars by Mark Russell and Roberto Meli. It's the first issue. Oh, and also here also too. I also picked up Exo Man of War number 24, and also I love this. The um the and I read it when this came out. The prestige format of Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey, book number 3. I just thought it was pretty cool. I just thought I'd read this and then again just give it away after I'm done. Now, also too, the other cool find that I picked up in these from this dollar bin, Scotch McTiernan Halloween Party, written by Jerry Dugan, Brian Posehn, art by Scott Koblish. I was just looking through this. This looks crazy fun. It's just wild. So, I didn't get a chance to read it yet, but just flipping through it, it looks like, it's all these bunch of you know, monsters and so forth having their own little Halloween party, and and all of a sudden, you know, Scotch McTiernan kicks the door down, and he's like, "Hey, heads up, fucking weirdos!" Oh, that was just so hilarious. That was so fun. It's just kind of raunchy from there. And then also too, I love it because in the end, you see Santa Claus and he goes, "Enjoy your stupid Halloween because Christmas is coming," and he's pointing to the reader. I can't wait to read this. I can't wait to read that. And also too, what I also love too about Other Realms is they have the comic shop news. Yeah, so whenever I'm in town, if I have time, I'll stop by Other Realms, not only to dig through the dollar binge, but just to walk around the shop. And also, pick up the comic shop news. These are so cool. Back in like the 1990s, I think, there was another comic shop, back then, I want to say it was Gecko Books was carrying comic shop news. And you know, these things are free, and it's always cool because they do little mini interviews at comic book creators or give you a heads up of what's coming out. So it's just sentimental value that and they're still printing it. They're the latest one I just got is you know issue 1000, it's 1990, issue 1990 or 1990, and it's dated October 8th, 2025. So I like I said, I picked these up just for nostalgic purposes and just to read about it and so forth. Okay, So what did I pick up um from my LCS Westside Comics and Games? So I picked up Return to Planet Hulk by Greg Pak and Carlo um Pangilinan, artist. Now this is I know this has been out for I think maybe about a month or two. Now, of course, this is celebrating the 20th anniversary of this storyline. Um, and then I also picked up Doomed 2099, number one, by Frank Tier and Dilo Diaz and Frank Ap Apazar. I know, I'm sorry, I'm butchering these names. So what happened was when I went to Westside Comics and Games, I called the shop yesterday, telling them, "Hey, please hold me a copy of them. Absolute Batman, the absolute Batman, annual." And they said, "Oh, okay." And they said, well, the DC comics haven't come in yet, so it's kind of, that's Tuesday. They'll probably be in by, today, Wednesday. I come in, their DC shipment still had didn't arrive yet. So, I didn't, and it's obvious I didn't pick up, my absolute Batman annual. So, and I just didn't want to leave handed. I had a few bucks in my wallet. And it's like, hey, I'm just going to give Julius, a little bit of business. The other cool thing that I picked up was, he has free copies of Den of Geek magazines. Now, this is the one with John Cena as Peacemaker on the cover. Now, I like to read these. I like to go through these, because it has, some cool articles and so forth like that. Now, this is what I thought was so cool. Now, on the last page, it's a quiz section. Now, one of the questions they asked was, what 1988 comedy was a spoof of the 1977 Charles Bronson movie Telephone, about sleeper agents activated by a rogue KGB clerk. Now I only remember part of that activation phrase was like miles to go before I sleep. If you guys get a chance, it's a very good movie. I remember seeing this a ton of times on HBO back in the the like the late 70s, because I know back then I think HBO, I think they ran from like, Forth and White time, like, dinner time about 5 p.m. to maybe about 1. So they didn't have too much programming back then or too much movies. And I remember on telephone, they kept playing that a lot. So yes, excuse me a moment. Let me just take a sip of water. Now, like I said, this is a great movie, because not only did it star Charles Bronson, it also starred the beautiful Lee Remick. Now, she was also in the movie The Omen back in, I want to say 1976. That's, if you guys are looking for a great horror movie, you know, The Omen, directed by Richard Donner, starred Gregory Peck, Lee Remick. Yeah, that's the creepy one to watch. Also, too, in Telephone, it also starred Donna Pleasance, Dr. Loomis of the Halloween movies. Now, so okay, so it asks, which comedy, spoofed Telephone, and now they gave they gave several, now they say like, was it Twins, was it Big, The Naked Gun, or A Fish Called Wanda? Now, of course, the answer is The Naked Gun. So, yeah, I didn't know that The Naked Gun was a spoof from Telephone, but so that's something. Yeah, that's something I just learned today. I just thought that's pretty funny. Now, digital movies. Now this past week I picked up some digital movies. I picked up a Nicolas Cage trilogy bundle for 15 bucks on the Apple Store. Now it included Mandy, Prisoners of Ghostland, um, and also the movie I was more interested in seeing. Now I'm going to watch all three of them. Color Out of Space. Now the description of this movie from the Apple Store was: after a meteorite lands in the front yard of their farm, Nathan Gardner, and that's the name of his character, Nicholas Cage's character, and his family find themselves battling mutant extraterrestrial organisms as it infects their minds and bodies, transforming their quiet rural life into a living nightmare. Now, this is based on the classic H.P. Lovecraft short story, Color Out of Space. Now, um, Jonathan Barkin of Dread Central, he gives a short praise for this movie. Gorgeous, vibrant, and terrifying. Now, the description of the movie that I read to me when I started to read it, it just sounded like that Stephen King um, short story in the movie Creepshow, the one where the meteor lands and he breaks it open and all of a sudden all this like moss and stuff starts growing out from him. That I don't know. That's what I just thought of it. The first my reaction when I start to read the description of Color Out of Space. So yeah. All right. So the next movie I picked up was The Prestige. Now, this is a Christopher Nolan movie starring Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Scarlett Johansson, and David Bowie. Now, I've never seen this movie. I've heard about it. It was on sale, like $5. I picked it up. Now, the description is an illusion gone horribly wrong pits two 19th century magicians, Alfred Borden, that's Christian Bale's character, and Rupert Anger, that's Hugh Jackman's character, against each other in a bitter battle for supremacy. Terrible consequences loom when the pair escalate their feud, each seeking not to just outwit, but to destroy the other man. Dun dun dun. So, yeah. So I'm hoping to, find some time in the next week or two to check this movie out. I I know that there's a little twist at the end of this movie, so that's why I picked it up, and I just wanted. And of course, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. So, all right, now I'm slowly going to start wrapping things up. I'm going to go over some of the new releases for next week, November 5th, 2025. Now, I got this so I got, this info, whatever comics are coming out that week from the League of Comic Geeks website. Now, for DC, of course, Batman #3, written by Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez, that's coming out now. In basically the solicit read, Vandal Savage makes his move against Batman and Robin. Bruce Wayne tries to make amends, and the Riddler makes his play for arguably the most important item in all of Gotham. Now, it's 40 pages and it's $4.99. Now, the second book I also looked at was DC Chaos Night Fight #1, not Nightfall. It's Night Fight, and I love that play on the words because, you know, thinking back to Batman Nightfall back in the what was the 90s. So Joshua Williamson's the writer, and I had to make sure this is. I'm hoping this is correct. Dan Mora on art. Now, the solicit is the Dark Knight is forced to take a different path indeterminate for the heart of Apocalypse, one that has turned Gotham into a deadly arena where Batman must battle against the Batmen of the future. Who are these Batmen? Stay tuned and find out. Dun dun dun. Now, also too, on the cover of this issue it's wild because Batman is holding a bat'leth. It looks like a Klingon bat'leth. So I I'm gonna pick this up. I want to know where he got this weapon from. So that's gonna be interesting. Now, I'm kind of surprised at this. It's 32 pages and it's only $3.99. I was expecting this book to be at least $4.99, but $3.99 nowadays, that's a pretty good price. Now, the other book I'm also looking at DC is Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League #4. Now, this is a 6-issue miniseries written by Greg Rucka, art by Nicola Scott. Now, I have this series on my pull list at Website Comics and Games. Now, I read the first issue and I love it. Now, don't now the thing is now I gotta try to catch up and read the rest of the issues. Now, the solicit reads Cheshire and Cheetah have a secret plan to rob the Justice League, and oh rats, we gave it away. 32 pages, $3.99. Well, actually, I think they gave away the plot in issue number 4 with basically the title of the comic. So I think we kind of know what's going to happen. So I'm just joking on that part. All right. So there's some other comics that I just picked out of the blue, basically. Alien versus Captain America #1, written by Frank Tier and Stefano Raffaelli on art. The Red Skull's newest recruits. It's World War II. Hydra seeks new weapons to defeat the Allies and win the war. To that end, the Red Skull has sent Baron Strucker on an expedition to the Himalayas to find the fabled city of Atlantean. Now, but instead of fighting Inhumans, Strucker uncovers something much more deadly, much more alien. Now, can Captain America and the Howling Commando stop the Skull and his newfound xenomorph weapons, or will the first Avenger learn in war-torn Europe, no one can hear you scream? Yeah, okay. Um, I think that's going to be fun. Now, I'm hoping I got this right. Now, it's 32 pages for $5.99. That's a little pricey. I'm going to be honest, I may pick up the first issue and just read it, but like I said, it's a little pricey. So I don't know. I might wait for Marvel Limit on that. I'm not sure. Um, I just also pointing this one out too. Void Rivals #24, written by Robert Kirkman. Art by Connor Hughes, 32 pages, $3.99. G.I. Joe #3, written by Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley on art, and Jordi Belair on colors. The Dreadnought War begins here when Cobra Commander is betrayed by one of his closest allies. He's targeted for revenge by the Dreadnoughts. But in his darkest hour, the only one who could save Cobra Commander is Duke. Now, the team up you never expect kicks off the biggest G.I. Joe story yet. One so action-packed that will be shipped bi-weekly from the dream team of Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley. 32 pages, $3.99. So that's it. Like I said, I didn't want to go through the whole list because because let's be honest. I don't want you guys to just keep hearing me drone out all the comments that are coming out next day. I just kind of picked and choose and just you know. Now, if you are looking to see what other comics are coming out on November 5th, I'm just going to recommend just check out the League of Comics Geek website. But if you have other, like, if you want to go through Luna Distributions or just go through the Marvel website, that's fine too. So that's, Now, my pick for a fun read, Cheetah and Cheshire robbed the Justice League #4. That one by Greg Rucka and Nicole Scott. That's going to be my fun read. Like I said, I have that on my pull list. Now, my pick for profit, it's the DCKO Night Fight #1. Joshua Williamson, writer, and Dan Mora on art. Now, when I was actually, what it is, why is this going to be my profit pick? Because part of this listed that caught my eye was, quote, Batmen of the future. Who are these Batmen? Now, it's kind of like going, so, okay, so the reason why I picked this as my, profit is, you know, um, introduction of, future Batman. Because who knows, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, it's like, remember this Batman from, DC KO Night Fight? Well, he's back and issue #1, and it's going to go skyrocketing through the roof. So, I decided to just pick it up. Now, the funny thing about this, while writing the script for this, and when I was reading, and I was just reading the solicit for Night Fight, I had to stop writing the script and call Julius to ask him to pull me a copy. So yeah, hope so I'll let you guys know when I pick up that issue. So yeah, so like I said, that's my pick for a profit. All right, that's it. I'm gonna say, I have reached the end of the episode. My throat is going very dry. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a sip of water. Kyle and Drew, please come back. I know the listeners miss all of you guys. And when you guys do come back, please tell us what comics you guys have read. What comics did you guys find in your dollar bin dives and so forth. So, yeah, so we miss you guys. And, again, we need you guys to basically complete this walk to, the march of 1,000 episodes. Now, as always, listeners, I just want to take the time again to always thank Drew, the host of Comics for Profit, for fun and profit, for letting me contribute to his podcast. So, Drew, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes. Listeners, Drew does a lot of hard work, especially on my episodes, my interview episodes, you know, um, writing the descriptions, sometimes, the crazy edits I have to tell him, hey, I lost power and I have to, I got two recordings. Can you stitch them together? And he does it, and just Drew, just thank you very much again for all your hard work behind the scenes. So thank you very much. I want to thank you, the listener. Thank you very much for sticking with me through this episode's mistakes and all. I hope you guys, had a good laugh. I hope, I pointed you guys to some comics to check out, and so forth. So, it's just, again, I just want to thank you. Thank you guys very much for your time. Thank you very much, for listening to this episode. And please remember, read and watch what you love. Again, who cares what other people think, as long as you enjoy it. That's the main thing. So that's it. Until next time, guys. Aloha.
From the islands where the sun meets the sea, Jason's the voice we all wanna be. Interviewing creators, making comics come alive. With every story, he helps us thrive. Reading comics, he's got the best taste. No story too big, no hero to waste. He's the man with the passion and the insight, bringing comics to life, shining bright. Jason from Hawaii, diving in deep, unveiling the stories that we wanna keep. From creators to heroes, he's got the scoop on the comics for fun and profit loops. So tune in, you don't wanna miss. Jason's the voice of comic book bliss. From Marvel to DC, Indie and more, Jason's the guy who opens the door with every interview. He's setting the stage, bringing creators to life, page by page. He loves the craft, the art and the lore. Comic books are where he'll always explore. So grab your books and listen in. Jason's the guide, let the journey begin. Jason from Hawaii, diving in deep, unveiling the stories that we wanna keep. From creators to heroes, he's got the scoop on the comics for fun and profit loops. So tune in, you don't wanna miss. Jason's the voice of comic book bliss. With a heart for comics and a voice that's true, Jason's the co-host, bringing the crew. In every interview, you'll hear the spark, a passion for comics that leaves a mark. Jason from Hawaii, diving in deep, unveiling the stories that we wanna keep. From creators to heroes, he's got the scoop on the comics for fun and profit loops. So tune in, you don't wanna miss. Jason's the voice of comic book bliss. Jason from the islands with comics in his soul. Every episode, he's making it whole. With every page turned and every story told, Jason's the comic book guy. Yo!